Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. So it's another week, guys, in the real estate world. So welcome to what I'm calling Real Beans and Realty Scenes. So again, just so you guys know, this is a really casual live stream. I'm just going to be talking about some real estate news, economic outlook in regards to the real estate industry. So grab a cup of coffee, join me here, enjoy your caffeine fix, and we'll get into some articles that I read this morning, and I got a couple things for you too. I'm going to not just talk about some news. I've got two news articles that I'm going to kind of just briefly kind of go over. But I've also got kind of a conversation. It's an article that I read, but it's about agents' biggest mistakes and what they learned from them. So it's an article on realestatenews.com. So I'm going to kind of just talk through that, and then stay until the end. Be sure to kind of stay all the way to the end, because I'm going to do a conversation here about leveraging the use of AI and ChatGPT. So we've been talking about this. This is a very hot topic item. A lot of agents are using ChatGPT. So I want to make sure that we're using it correctly and understand kind of what it's good at doing and what it might not be the greatest at, and how to use it effectively. So be sure and stay till the end. So yeah, good morning. Hey, Bill Muse. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. Hope you've got a cup of coffee, man. There's my dad. There you go. Hey, Dad. I know you've got a cup of coffee in your hand. So, Rhonda, good to see you. Good morning. Good morning to you as well. Thanks for jumping on, guys. I definitely really do appreciate that. I know as real estate agents, we are super busy, and I would say you have already begun checking emails and text messages and probably all of your dot loop, your digital documents that you've got to get out the door. So I do appreciate you guys taking some time. So whoever said this, thank you. Yep. Good morning. This is someone in our private training group. Anna, good to see you. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Great to have you on here. Mona, Brock, hello. Good morning to you as well. Love seeing you guys here. Thank you guys again. Awesome. So today, just a kind of a teaser about what the articles are and what I'll be going over. So the first article I'm going to be talking about is inflation ticks up. Does that mean mortgage rates will follow? That's one article I'm going to be talking about. That's from Realtor.com. Matter of fact, both news articles are going to be from Realtor.com today. The other article I'm going to go over is mortgage rates rise for a third straight week, but that's not the worst news. So we're going to hash out that conversation. Mentioned this before, but I'm going to be talking about agents' biggest mistakes and what they learned from them. And then also at the very end, stay until the end if you can. If you have time, please do so. When we talk about how real estate agents can leverage the power of AI using ChatGPT. So if there's anybody out there that is using ChatGPT and you guys got some tips that you would like to contribute to this group, throw it in the comments too, because as we get to the end, I might come back and kind of bring those up. So if you know of any good prompts or good ways to use ChatGPT, feel free to share that. It'd be awesome to kind of have other people's opinions and stuff as I go through this. Pause for a drink. Just so you guys know too, just the usual little housekeeping stuff here. If you have any questions or anything along those lines, just put a big capital Q followed by the question. That way I can look at it in the comments and bring it up and I can address those. Let's see who else we got here. Michelle, good morning to you as well. Thank you. Thank you. I know these are agents from our private training group. Bonjour. I have a feeling that is my good friend, Patricia. Good morning to you as well. Oh, and then Kathy Jones. Kathy, thank you. Thank you for joining us. All right, guys, let's just jump straight in. Actually, no, sorry. You know what? I'm going to do what I always do. I almost forgot. I'm going to do today's quote. I'm going to talk about a quote. This one is by Chris Pine. So I thought this was a really good one. It kind of goes off of what we have been talking about the past couple weeks. But here it is. Today's quote is, the only thing you sometimes have control over is perspective. You don't have control over your situation, but you have a choice about how you view it. The only thing you sometimes have control over is perspective. You don't have control over your situation, but you have a choice about how you view it. I thought this was really good. When we started talking about last week, I was talking about just how to handle conflict and resolutions and those type of things. And this quote kind of correlates to that. So if you're interested, after the video, I'll put a link up I think it'll be up here, a card to go back to that conflict resolution video. But I think this is really kind of a good quote that goes along with that, because sometimes we have a tendency to get our own emotions involved in situations, and we have our perspective of the situation. And that perspective can go into the negotiations, the closing table, all those things. And we don't really have control over many of those situations. What we say and our perspective of it can. But if we allow ourselves to get very emotional about it, we make the choice not to control that emotion, I think then our perspective could change and it could lead us down some dangerous roads and really kind of lack our professionalism if we do that. So I thought it was a good quote. So the only thing you sometimes have control over is perspective. You don't have control over your situation, but you have a choice about how you view it. So take a step back from those situations and just, make sure your perspective is correct and you understand where your clients are coming from. All right, awesome. There we go. Now, I've got that out of the way. Let's go into the first news article. All right, so here we are. Again, this is Realtor.com. Both of them were from this today. I thought they kind of correlated in some ways, but I did kind of want to hash this out a little bit. So here it is. Inflation ticks up. Does that mean mortgage rates will follow? It's a good question. It's a good question. It says over the past few years, home buyers and sellers have been forced to become quasi-economists, analyzing government inflation and employment reports to try to make sense of what this all means for the housing market. Yeah. So I would say this to you guys as just initial advice. Quasi-economists, become that. Become very in tune with what is going on in your market. It is more important for you guys to do that when you're going through shifts and changes, because to be able to stay relevant and to be the source of good information, you got to be kind of borderline on the economist side. I don't think you need to get into the weeds too much, but it does help to kind of be aware about when certain things happen in the market and how that affects, especially the housing industry. So learning these type of things is really good. All right. Persistent high inflation has led the U.S. Federal Reserve to hike its short-term interest rates to bring it back down. This puts pressure on mortgage rates, often pushing them even higher, with the effects reverberating through the housing market. In July, inflation ticked up to 3.2%. So we're still seeing an increase. So up from 3% the month before, according to the government's Consumer Price Index released on Thursday. The report might look a bit worse at first glance than it actually is, say real estate economists. So we are still seeing a little bit of an inflation going on, the high inflation has led the U.S. Federal Reserve to raise that short-term interest rate, which then does overall affect the interest rate in the housing market. So with the July inflation increasing by 3.2 from the previous month of 3, it seems like, so inflation is on the rise, but really that's a slower inflation than we have seen back in 2022. So it is showing that the inflation that we saw last year and over the past couple of years is starting to cool just a little bit, making this year over year increase not as dramatic. It's still inflating, but that's probably more along the historical averages, to be honest. We like inflation, or at least an increase in value in homes. We see that in our industry all the time. So we're seeing it more of a stabilization. All right, July's inflation data is being compared with July 2022, when inflation had already begun to cool. That's going to result in higher results a year later. Plus, if the increases were annualized, it would put inflation for the year at 2%, the Fed's goal. All right, so here's a quote by Danielle Hale. It raises the odds that Fed will keep rates steady, says Realtor.com chief economist Danielle Hale. Mortgage rates can steady, maybe even start to decline from where they are. All right, so again, we're seeing a cooling of that inflation. So even though, yes, we're still seeing an increase in inflation, but it's a modest 2%. It's a modest 2% year over year. Those mortgage rates currently hovering around 7% have brought the housing market to a standstill. Many buyers have been priced out of home ownership, while scores of would-be sellers are staying put as they can't afford to buy a new home at a higher rate. That's worse than the already severe housing shortage. So yeah, sounds dire, right? But this is what we see when the market begins to stabilize or shift into a new market. This is what we begin to see. There are some pain points in these type of transitions. All right, so failing mortgage rates could give the housing market a bit of a jolt. Buyers' dollars would stretch a lot farther, and more sellers are expected to list their properties. So here's a quote for you. Our expectation is that when inflation gets back to target, we will start to see all kinds of rates start to decline, says Hale. She expects rates will head below 7% in the coming days. We should see mortgage rates ease, but they're not going to do so quickly. Again, this is kind of a slow thing. This is what we want. We don't want a drastic change in the market. We want a slow change in the market. And so far, the Feds are doing what they intended to do, right? Cool the inflation. Keep us from going too far out there to cause more problems, adverse effects long term. However, the Fed could still choose to raise its rates again at its next meeting, or even later this year. If the Fed decides to make another hike, it would bring its interest rates to the highest level since 2001. So again, they're watching a lot of little metrics here. We've talked about this the past few weeks, right? They look at the job market, unemployment rate versus employment rate, how many active jobs there are, how much money is being infiltrated into the economy. They're watching all of these things. We are in an industry that is highly affected by all other industries because people are moving, they're taking new jobs, new factories are opening or closing down. So we are in a very industry that is ultimately affected very much by what the Fed does. So especially when it comes to interest rates. All right, so here's another quote for you. Today's data keeps hope alive for a broader reversal in rates. It's a little optimistic here. There's clearly been a shift in core inflation, says Matt Graham, Chief Operating Officer of Mortgage News Daily. It will simply take more time and more data to confirm the shift is sustainable. All right, so we're going to see. We got to ride this out a little bit more to see what's going to happen. In July, housing costs made up about 90% of the monthly increase in the core inflation metric that the Fed takes into account. But while rents, the main measure of those costs, have fallen in recent months, those decreases can take anywhere from 9 to 12 months to show up in the government's inflation data. Bright MLS chief economist Lisa Sturdivant explained, the multiple listing service covers the Mid-Atlantic region. As builders finish putting up more apartment buildings this year, we should expect to see declining rents bring inflation down over the coming months, Sturdivant said in a statement. This all bodes well for the housing market. So we saw a major increase not only in inflation and costs of mortgages and those type of things in the past 3 years, we saw rents go up as well. So the most available rent or the availability for rentals was way down, so it drove that price up. So now we've got a lot of people that are building more apartments, more duplexes, so the rental market is even stabilizing a little bit, so therefore there's more housing. So again, this all bodes well for long-term playability in the real estate market, right? Realtor.com had anticipated that mortgage rates would fall to 6.1% by the end of the year, a feat that Hale now believes is probably a tad optimistic. Okay, so they anticipated this. A lot of economists were saying, hey, we're going to spike and then we're going to kind of go back down. But that's changed a lot because it's just not cooled as fast as they were hoping it would do. Again, I don't think they really realized how strong of a job market we actually had. I know they know the data, but there's a lot of jobs out there going through the pandemic. There was just a ton of availability. No one could, we couldn't go into work and, we were shut down, those type of things. So, but now we're coming back and there's a lot of jobs. There's still a lot of money pouring into the economy. It says mortgage rates are going to be more of a drag than a boost on housing activities for the rest of this year and probably into early next year as well, she says. All right, just some couple final points. I'm going to run through these. So here's my summary of this. Home buyers and sellers are monitoring inflation and employment reports to understand their impact on the housing market. High inflation led the U.S. Federal Reserve to raise short-term interest rates, affecting mortgage rates and the housing market. July's inflation increased to 3.2% from the previous month's 3%, but this might not be as alarming as it seems. The comparison is made with July 2022, when inflation was cooling, making the year-over-year increase seem larger. Chief economist Daniel Hale expects mortgage rates currently 7% to stabilize or decrease due to these factors. High mortgage rates have stalled the housing market, pricing out buyers and discouraging sellers. Hale and Fed could raise rates again, possibly reaching the highest level since 2001, impacting the market. Housing costs contributed to a significant portion of the core inflation increase in July. Decreases in rents might take 9 to 12 months to reflect in the inflation data affecting the core inflation metric. And as more apartment buildings are built, declining rents could lower inflation in the upcoming months. Despite positive signs, Realtor.com's prediction of a mortgage rate decrease to 6.1% by year end seems optimistic. Mortgage rates are expected to hinder housing activity for the rest of the year and possibly into the next, but we are seeing an overall stabilization of the market. All right, so there's my summary of that article. Let's jump into the next one here. Actually, let me show you this one first. Let me show you, just so we get a good idea about what is going on in interest rates right now. So just so you can get a visual. All right, so this is the mortgage rates. If you guys are interested, Mortgage News Daily is a great way. I wouldn't say, go out there and say, hey, this is the interest rate right now. I would still encourage all of your buyers to go talk to a local bank and find out what their rate would be. But this is just kind of an overview of the market to kind of see what the averages are. So let's see here. There was a way to bring this up. 30-year, here we go. There we go. So you can look at this. You can see back down here is October of 2022, and then it goes up into August of 2023. So you can kind of see what's going on here in this market here. All right. So we go to here. Yeah. So here is your big spike that took place, and now we've hovered right around this percentage here. So if you want to get a visual about where the interest rates is, there the interest rate are, there you go. And you'll see here the MND's 30-year fixed rate daily survey, they're putting at about 7.24. I have noticed so far a lot of reports are coming in like right at that 7% mark. So there's you a snapshot about what's really going on. Okay, mortgage rates rise for third week straight, but that's not the worst news. Sounds dire. All right. Mortgage rates rose for the third week in a row, dashing homebuyers' hopes that real estate might become a bit more affordable near summer's end. So they had originally predicted that, hey, the interest rates are going to come back down towards the end of the summer, and we'll see a big uptick in buyer traffic, those type of things. It wasn't as, they were very optimistic in that, going back to what she had said earlier in that statement. Interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged 6.96% for the week ending August 10th, according to Freddie Mac. That's up significantly from a year ago when rates averaged 5.22 and well over double the rates 2 years earlier when they hovered at 2.87. So there's you a great little snapshot. These near 7% rates have arrived just as inflation numbers ticked up in July, fueling worries that the Fed could raise benchmark rates at its next meeting in September. So they're watching this again. It's like we're playing this weird roulette game with interest rates. But just so you guys can just fully understand, this is trying to stabilize the market, trying to avoid inflation and trying to avoid a crash. So we're playing a game of interest rates here, and in regards to the job market and everything else. So a lot going on, a lot of adjusting going on. But guys, I mean, you can read these articles very easily and be like, oh man, the real estate market is in trouble. No, it's really not. This is just, we've got to adjust to this, I hate using the term, but the new norm. But that is what we're seeing. That is what we're seeing. All right, this might not even be the worst news for home buyers who, for the week ending August 5th, were also hit with higher home prices. With home prices, mortgage rates, and inflation all inching upward, what does this mean for home buyers and sellers? Here's what the latest real estate statistics seem to foretell in our latest installment of How's the Market this week. Okay, so here's a nice little graph that Realtor.com does. Median listing price is up 0.7%. So this goes back to the previous article, right? We're seeing an inflation of 0.2% overall, but we're only seeing an actual inflation of 2% if you were to compare year over year. So yes, we are going up in inflation, but this is historically a normal inflation point. What we're trying to do is stabilize the market. All right. Biggest hit is going to be the new listings side of things. New listings are down 14%. All right. Time on market is 7 days longer. Mortgage rate is up. So this article kind of breaks this down a little bit, but in a nutshell, here it is. Median listing prices are going up. So therefore, homes are getting a little bit more expensive overall. People are watching this inflation. They're still wanting to buy. So they're still buying, which is driving the amount of new listings coming to the market down. People are more apt to hold on to their home because they don't want to have to pay the higher interest rate to sell. But then the time on market is going up. This is a good indicator that we see a stabilization. So as the time on the market goes up, that delays the speed of which new listings are selling, which means people might bring their prices down to a more reasonable area, which as the buyers begin to watch that, more buyers enter into the market, and then sellers will be more apt to sell, and then the mortgage rate is going to eventually kind of stabilize and hover at a certain percentage for a longer period of time, which then everybody as a consumer can then adjust to this new norm. So again, these numbers show you that you have a stabilization in the market taking place here. Home prices rise again. Home buyers had reason to be hopeful when list prices dipped in July to $440, down from $443.9 1 year ago. Yet for the past 2 weeks, they've been on the upswing again, creeping 0.7% higher for the week ending August 5th compared to last year. Yet in her analysis of the latest housing data, Realtor.com economic research analyst Hannah Jones predicts we will not see a new peak home price in 2023 above the June 2022 record of $449. Stabilization, guys. Stabilization. So even though prices have indeed begun to head north again, they are probably not going to reach the summits of summer 2022. I think that's good. Still, affordability is likely to continue to be the chief challenge for home buyers, says Jones. So I won't labor this. That graph right there tells you kind of exactly what's going on in the market. That right there. So just know that we're seeing the stabilization. This is a graph. Hey, share it to your buyers and sellers and talk about what is really going on in the market and what this actually means for them. All right. So we're going to start seeing probably more time on the market. Okay. And we're going to see our interest rates probably tick up a little bit above 7. But we'll probably settle around the 6.8, 6.9% once some more of this cooling kind of takes effect and we kind of settle in. Okay. Awesome. Hey, be sure to, if you're watching and you have any questions or you have something to contribute, feel free to do so. Would love to hear what you guys have to say. And if this is your first time here, put new in there, and also consider subscribing. All right, so let's do this. Let's get into some time for education. I always enjoy this. I want to make sure that this is valuable for you guys. It's not just you're not just coming in here and listening to me talk about news. It's valuable to know news, but it can get, we can get lost in the weeds with numbers. Before I actually get into this article, though, it's funny, as my timer was going, I was reading through a magazine and just kind of looking at things, and I picked up this one right here on my desk. It's Risk Media, Real Estate. This is the August edition. We just showed you a graph about listings being down and how many new listings are coming on the market. We're down 14%. So this is the time to get out there and start working on getting listings. That's where the game is won. Get out there and get listings. So this article here that I'm going to point out, there it is, 5 strategies to cultivate more listings. So just really quick, I thought this was a really good article. It's by Daryl Davis, and it's just a quick little read. And I'm not going to read through this, but I'm going to give you he lays out some really good tips that you guys maybe have just become relaxed on because, the market was really good. So I want to encourage you guys to do some of these things. One of the things he said to do is phone for sale by owners. They believe that they can sell on their own and save money, but year after year, statistics from the National Association of Realtors will debunk that myth. Call them with a focus on service, pose rapport building questions that determine their commitment, and ask them, would you be offended if I came over to have a look and see how I can help? So that's a good one. But remember, be sure to check the no-call registry before you make any kind of calls like that. Be sure to check that. All right. Another one said phone expired listings. These are people that had their home on the market. Get back in the expired listing game. Get back in there and do that. Number 3, phone FSBOs and expired listings from 2+ years ago that pulled their home from the market. Go back into your MLS data and see if there's any homes on there that have didn't sell, never changed hands. Do a little bit of research and see what happens. See if you can find some of those diamonds in the rough that just were not able to sell. And then phone rental properties was another one. And then phone people in the neighborhoods of new listings. That's a great idea. What's funny is that they almost always choose to list with another brokerage because they're worried about their neighbors knowing too much about their home. So his perspective is, hey, get out there and, if you see a new listing go up in the market in a neighborhood, start calling all the other neighbors. They might not want to list with the same realtor because they don't want that realtor then to relay information to the neighbor about something about them. So they're less likely to use the same realtor. That's an interesting perspective. So I thought that was kind of cool. All right. So let's get back into this one. Agents' biggest mistakes and what they learned from them. I won't labor this long, but there's a few good points inside of here. Everyone messes up from time to time. See the mistakes that set some agents back, but ultimately provided lessons for success. Man, I will say this: learning from mistakes. That is the best way to learn. We all make them. What I would say is, don't be afraid to make the mistakes. I've noticed a lot of people, like, once they make a mistake, they become a little bit more fearful to do anything. And then they shut down. Let's say you make a mistake with a listing, or you make a mistake with talking to it for sale by owner, or whatever the case may be. You become less likely to do it again because you made that mistake. Yeah. Any agent out there will agree with me on this, is mistakes is where you learn. And that's where you address fear, and that's where you grow as a real estate agent to do better in your job. So you can't avoid it. We all have made the same mistakes. We have all done it. We've all done it. Don't be afraid. The key points in this article was this: approach mistakes with a sometimes you win, sometimes you learn mentality, not lose. Own your mess ups, apologize for them, make adjustments, and don't make the same mistake twice. Some of the greatest lessons come from losses, but take steps to avoid mistakes in the first place. All right, so approach mistakes with a positive attitude. Mistakes happen to everyone. They're part of life. Think of mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow. Embrace the mentality of sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, okay? All right, the next one is own your mistakes and don't skip the walkthrough. So this was a particular issue. This lady, this agent here, she was kind of done with these clients. She was kind of frustrated with them. She probably wasn't really getting along with them, or something was going on. And it says here, one mistake that stuck with her: I was about 5 years into my career. I had buyers who were very nice, but had a very strong personalities, and I just wanted to be done, she recalls. A day before their closing, the buyers asked Joel's if they needed to do a walkthrough. We had been to this house so many times, and while I left the ball in their court, the tone I set was no. We did not need to do a walkthrough, says the Jacksonville, Florida area agent. Now, all of my agents that are on here, or anyone, we all know we do the walkthrough, right? I mean, that is crucial. Joel's voice trembles when she describes the gash movers left in the home stone floors. I was humiliated, embarrassed, apologetic. I paid to have it repaired, but this wasn't just about a gash. It was my reputation. It's been more than a decade since this happened, but when I see this couple around the community, I still feel uncomfortable. So what would have happened if she had the walkthrough? They would have noticed the gash in the floor. She could have addressed it then, could have postponed the closing or done something about that to avoid having this problem. So, yep, that's a tough one. All right, move on from disappointment and do your homework. I hope I'm saying this right. I'm sorry if not. Aroi Shaw, a Century 21 Edge agent based in Orlando, says her greatest mistake was getting into the business without fully realizing how many licensed agents there were out there. She says it was difficult to see friends take their business to other agents. We've all been there. We get in this industry, we think our best friend's going to list with us or buy through us, and what happens? They end up going to some other realtor, right? As painful as that is, we've all been there. Everyone knows someone who is a real estate agent, she says, noting she quickly learned the importance of showing value and earning trust. I ended my first year with $0 in sales, which was very disappointing, but I did not give up hope. Now, with 7 years of experience, she is a multi-million-dollar producer and continues to grow her business each year. That's perspective. That is perspective right there. Because she could have easily been all upset. Like, why couldn't my friend use me? Why did they go to somebody else? You know, we have this tendency where we think we own people. Like, hey, that's so-and-so. I grew up with them. Our families are really close. And then they go and they work with another agent. He's right. The thing is, yep, you might be best friends. You might be the closest of friends, but you've done nothing to earn their trust and therefore their value. They don't see you as the valuable source for real estate. So she chose, yep, I made a mistake. I assumed that they owed me this. In reality, I needed to earn them and show them value. I needed to show that I cared and I could help them in their real estate endeavors. So that is great perspective there. Excellent perspective. Learn from missteps and remember to set goals. All right, Ahu-based agent Jeremy Matteo discussed his biggest mistakes on his YouTube channel. His number one goof? I didn't set concrete goals, says Matteo. I didn't quantify anything. I didn't say that I wanted to sell 10 houses or do 5 million in volume or have 5 listings. Nothing. My only 2 goals were that I wanted to make a lot of money and I wanted to drop out of college. In retrospect, Matteo realizes he should have calculated how many houses he needed to sell to launch his business and support himself. So just summary here. If you don't have goals and you don't set up kind of where you want to be in your business, like how many listings you need to have, how many sales you've got to have, how much sales volume you've got to make, what your gross commission income needs to be to turn this amount of profit, what I got to bring in for my family. If you don't have those core set goals, you'll have no idea what you should be doing in real estate. You need to stop, take a break, look at your life and say, where do I want to be? How do I get there? And then what do I need to do to get to that point, right? And then begin to implement systems and processes of phone calls and follow-ups and marketing, those type of things to get you to those goals. I see it all the time. Agents get in the industry and they have no idea what they're doing. They don't set those goals. They don't take some time and write those things out. It doesn't have to be complicated, but you do need to set those. You'll still make mistakes, but it's how you respond that counts. Amen. Conclusion is this: learn, apologize, adapt. Mistakes are a universal experience, but reactions matter. Acknowledge mistakes, apologize, and learn from them. Mentorship and sharing experiences can guide others. Progress comes from owning, understanding, and evolving beyond mistakes. That's my summary of that. Awesome. All right, guys, we are now going to transition. I'm going to be talking about ChatGPT. So, if anyone out there uses ChatGPT, please share some ideas. Give us something here in this group, some ways that you are using ChatGPT. I've written down a few. There's many use cases for ChatGPT. Okay, here I'm going to set the stage though for what ChatGPT is. So ChatGPT is an AI writing program that allows you to give it prompts to then generate text, emails, conversations, whatever it may be, into a format that you can use for marketing, for communications, you name it. That's what ChatGPT does. Now, ChatGPT is basically a program. It's artificial intelligence trying to write its best way for you. But the prompts, what you type in, matter the most. That's how it gets to where it needs to get to. Here's the thing about it. Caution using this, though. It has a tendency to not communicate the way you would communicate. So you can generate tons and tons of stuff. You can generate marketing materials. You can generate emails. But at some point, it's not going to sound like you anymore. So as we go through these prompts, every time you use ChatGPT, I want you to go in there and make sure that when you generate responses and results, that you edit that back down to sound like you. Don't let it speak for you. Let it be from you. Let it be a creative outlet and a creative source for you to help streamline your business and do some of these tasks that are, kind of difficult or take a lot of time. But don't let it be you. So I say all of that to make sure that just put that in your mind that as we go through this, it is an amazing tool when it's used correctly. All right. So yes, let's see what we got here. I love that she owned the mistake and learned from. Oh, that's going back to the previous article. Yes, Stephanie, that's great. Owning the mistakes, man. We gotta do that. Yes, when I need to have a hard talk with my tenants or a realtor. Yes, good. Michelle, yes, I use it all the time. Yep, it is a very, very, very handy tool. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to share my screen again. All right, so the way you get to ChatGPT is you can do, and I'll put this, just so you guys know, YouTube and all of them are cracking down on using links and stuff inside of chat windows. And, whoops, I added a little thing on there. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so they're cracking down on putting links and stuff inside of chat and even the description that's coming out in September. So we'll have to be a little more creative sharing links. But here we are. So you can get to ChatGPT by going to chat.openai.com. So chat.open, OPENAI.com. Okay, so that's how you get there. You create an account. It's completely free. There's no cost to that. You can pay to have like a speedier service, probably a little bit more robust results. I believe it's $20 or so a month, something like that. I don't know. But ChatGPT 4, there we go. $20 a month, upgrade to Plus, access to to GPT-4. So if you just kind of put in your frame, it's like an update, right? So you got ChatGPT 3.5, and now you got 4, and that's part of the paid version. So faster response speed, exclusive access to beta features like browsing, plugins, and code interpreter, things like that. So if you want to pay, you can, but you don't have to. Just got to be sometimes a little bit more patient with the results coming out. So, but that's how you get on there. You'll create an account. Just use GPT 3.5 if you want to do free. All right, so over here is a tab that says new chat. So think of this as like a chat window. You can talk to it as if it's a person, give it prompts, and then fine tune your prompts and give it more prompts, and it just kind of keeps generating more and more content. Then over here on below the new chat is all previous chats you might be having. So like right here is first time buyer tips. So I had done a prompt that says create a social media post with 5 tips for first time home buyers, and it generates this. So then you have all this down there. Down here you have like your profile and things. You don't really need to be worried about that unless you want to upgrade and do that kind of stuff. All right, so let's get into some of the prompts I want to give you some tips on. All right. So first one is going to be like lead generation and qualification. Here's a prompt for you. I'm going to copy and paste this over into the chat and then read it to you. Copy and paste. Generate a personalized introduction for a potential home buyer looking for a 3-bedroom house in Lexington, Kentucky. So let's say you get an inquiry on a certain property and you're making the first touch. Okay, so here's a prompt. I can then hit generate. And now it begins to generate just a very basic informational type statement, right? And then it created the chat over here and gave it a temporary name. I can edit that later. But it says, welcome to your personalized journey towards finding the perfect 3-bedroom home in the heart of Lexington, Kentucky. As you embark on this exciting adventure, I'm here to guide you through the intricate landscape of real estate in this charming city. Now, it gave me this like a statement, right? It's almost like a newsletter. Now, this is where I said it's like a chat and it's like prompts. So I come down here and I say, write this as an email to a client that recently inquired on a property. Okay? Prompt. Subject, your personalized journey to discover your real estate. Dear client's name, I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to personally reach out and extend a warm welcome to your exciting quest for the perfect 3-bedroom home here in charming Lexington, Kentucky. Your inquiry about the property has caught our attention, and we're thrilled to guide you through this journey. Okay, so you can begin to just continually tweak this and say, hey, make this shorter, make it longer, insert this, add this, remove this. And you can just sit here and just constantly chat with this thing, and it just constantly generates more and more information for you and gets this a little bit better as you go. You can talk about, crafting a message to inquire about a potential seller's interest in a listing. Maybe someone inquired about listing their property with you. You can write an email about that. I say the one that most people are using, most agents are using this for is listing descriptions. So let's talk about that. So let's just say I wanted to give it a prompt like this. Write a compelling description for a cozy 4-bedroom home close to all amenities. Now, if I had a very specific property in mind, I can give it more detail. I'm just going very general here to get a nice framework built, and I'm going to hit go. Welcome to your dream sanctuary nestled in the heart of convenience and comfort. This inviting 4-bedroom home is a tranquil oasis that boasts a perfect blend of modern living and timeless charm, situated in a prime location. It's a harmonious fusion of serenity and accessibility. A lot of adjectives in there. Maybe that's not your style. This is where I was talking about at the very beginning. Make it your own. This is very, very long. Okay, so I can come in here and say, make this shorter and to the point. Discover the epitome of cozy living in this 4-bedroom retreat, perfectly situated near all amenities. Step into a haven of modern comfort and timeless charm. See how that does that? Then now I've got a nice little framework. It's nice and small. I can come in here and I can say, add that it that it has 2 full baths and sits on 3 acres. Okay? There you go. Now it's worked that into the description as well. So I continue to add more and more to this, making the description even better. So there you go. That's an easy one to do. You can say, help me create an engaging listing for luxurious estate with a pool and garden. You know, whatever you want to tell it as a framework, and begin to tailor it from there. All right, I'm going to burn through some more here. Virtual tours and property showcases. Why not have it compose a script for like a virtual tour of a home? So let's just try this one. Let's try this one. This is a good one. So let's say you're wanting to be adventurous and get into video and kind of up your marketing game a little bit with video. Oh, ChatGPT is a great thing for this. So I come in here and I post this prompt. Compose a script for a virtual tour video highlighting the key features of a modern condominium. Now, what I could also do is I could take my previous description of the home I just wrote, and I could say, compose a script for a virtual tour video using this description. And I can paste that description in there. And then I hit go. And it's going to generate that whole script for me. But here's the cool thing. It gives you all kinds of things. Upbeat music playing, narrator. Welcome to a virtual tour of your stunning modern condominium where luxury living meets contemporary design. Get ready to explore the key features that make this condominium a true urban oasis. Let's begin. And then it goes to the foyer. Look at it. It even tells you like where to go. Camera pans through the foyer area, showcasing elegant lighting and stylish decor. Narrator. As you step into the condominium, you'll immediately be greeted by the grandeur of the foyer. All right. So there it goes. It creates this whole script for you. So let's say you want to ask it common questions, provide detailed information about property taxes. Like, what are property taxes? Whoa, my lights are going funky. There we go. Provide detailed information about property taxes. Let's say you want to do a helpful article for a blog. Okay, let's say, write me a blog post on information about property taxes and how they work. Demystifying property taxes, understanding how they work. Property taxes are an essential part of our financial responsibilities as homeowners, yet they often remain shrouded in confusion. As a homeowner or a prospective buyer, understanding how property taxes work is crucial to managing your finances effectively and making informed decisions. And there you go. What are property taxes? How property taxes are calculated, assessed value, tax rate, exemptions and deductions, the property tax process, assessment, setting tax rates, calculated tax bills, collection, challenges and considerations. So, and let's say you didn't like this. You can click this little regenerate button and it goes again and it does it again. And you always come back. Like I do it again. It's going to produce another whole article for me. Cool part is I don't lose my previous one. So let's say I was like, oh no, I kind of like the other one and I just erased it. No, you didn't. You come up here and see this to option here. I can click this back arrow. There's the original and there's the next one. So then I can again do the exact same thing. You know, give another prompt. Say, make it shorter, make it longer. Add some personal quotes from me or, you know, whatever. But again, go through this, tweak it, make it sound like you, those type of things. You can say, generate social media posts discussing the benefits of investing in rental properties in a seller's market. That's another good blog one. What about email campaigns and newsletters? Compose an email inviting clients to a virtual first-time home buyer seminar that you're going to be doing online or something. Talk about the process of becoming, you know, a buyer, what it's like to buy a home. I mean, you can do that very quickly. Yeah, help me. What about client engagement and follow-ups? Draft a follow-up message to a client who recently attended an open house. So let's say you've got a client, you had an open house and you collected all these people's names and now you're wanting to reach out to them. There's my prompt. Draft a follow-up message to a client who recently attended an open house, addressing their inquiries. Click go. Subject, addressing your inquiries after the open house. You can change this. You might not like this, right? You can just regenerate. Dear client's name, I hope this message finds you well. It was a pleasure to meet you at the open house and it has a little place where you put the property address in there. And I'm thrilled to know that you are interested in potential making it your future home. I appreciate your time and interest in the property, and I'm here to provide you with further information to address the questions you raised during your visit. Now, again, might not be what you're looking for. You can give it more prompts, kind of tailor this a little bit down. So property features, neighborhood, price and officer, there you go. So automatically done. What about local community insights? You can say, write a post for our website about the top schools and amenities in Lexington, Kentucky. Help me create a social media post highlighting upcoming community events in and then the area. And then you can post just a few community events in there. What about negotiations and closing? Generate a message to congratulate clients on the successful closing of their property. These are all just ways that you can use this. So think about all these everyday tasks that you do all of the time, generating content, right? Like you're creating marketing materials, you're generating emails. You can use this to create a lot of templates for yourself to use. Modify them again. Do not just copy and paste. Modify these and make it sound like you, but you can create a lot of those common emails and text messages and things like that you do on a regular basis to then send out. So that way it just speeds up your processes and it makes it way more efficient. And this is a great way to create drip campaigns. Let's say you want to do a drip campaign for, let's just do it. Write a email drip campaign for home tips give me 12 of them. Okay, so let's say you want to set up a drip campaign for 12 emails for home tips that you want to sign every seller up on, seller on, right, inside of your CRM. Home tip series. Subject, welcome to our home tip series. Email 1, introduction. Boom. Email 2, creating a welcoming entryway. 3, bringing the outdoors in. 4, furniture arrangement tips. I'm literally creating a whole drip campaign right now. 6, exploring color psychology and home design. Amazing, isn't it? This gives you some really honed in topics. And again, go in there, add more. You probably have this gives you a good framework to kind of put in there. You can go in there and fluff these things up, right? Add some images and graphics, maybe take some pictures of yourself doing these things and create a drip campaign that you can add all of your sellers to or all of your buyers to after they buy a home. Make this part of that follow-up process where you stay in communication with them and you provide them, with really helpful information. Maintain a well-organized home. And here, just as a prompt, here's what you can do. Add key points at the end of each email. Okay, so let's say I want to basically draw their attention to the certain things about every single email. So email 1, key points. So see, and it breaks it all down. Maybe you can make that as a little snippet at the end of that email. Welcome to the Home Tip Series. We'll be sharing valuable insights to enhance your home. A well-organized entry sets a positive impression. And again, you can tweak these. But there you go. You can just keep making this better and better and better. All right. Content for social media. Write a series of social media posts showcasing the picturesque views and outdoor activities around a lake property. There's just an idea. Create engaging Instagram captions for a series of before and after renovation photos of a historic home. So you can do Instagram too. Awesome, right? So what are some of the ways you guys are using it? There you go. I wanted to kind of show you guys some more ChatGPT stuff. I know it's an amazing tool when used correctly. All right, guys. I don't have anything else. If anyone has anything they'd like to share, feel free to do so. Love to engage with you all. But I do want to just simply say thank you, guys. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join me this morning. I truly am enjoying this. It's a way to kind of connect with you all. And I'm hoping you're finding some value in this. If you are, consider subscribing if you haven't. But I do want to make sure that this is beneficial for you guys. So let me know. Let me know if you're getting something out of this and there's something useful here. If there is anything that you would like me to cover, If there's something you're struggling with in your business, reach out, put it in the comments, send me an email, whatever the case may be. I would love to help you guys in that. If there's a news article that you come across that you say, hey, this is really good, and I want to kind of get your take on this, feel free to send that to me. A matter of fact, what I'll do is I have an email address that you can send that to, and I'll put that in the comments for you. And it's very, very simple. Here you go. This is it. AskAdamToday@gmail.com. If there is something you want me to cover, if there's something you want me to go over, or there's something you need help with, send an email right there. I would love to do that. Absolutely love to do that. Thank you. Thanks, Dad. Michelle, yes, lots of great information. Thank you, Adam. Oh, my pleasure, Michelle. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I appreciate that. Hey, Kay, no problem. I know you're a little late, but not an issue at all. Hey, it's YouTube. It's recorded. You can go back and watch it. Awesome, guys. Well, as always, thank you. I appreciate you guys greatly. I'm going to end with the quote again, just to kind of end and top it off. The only thing you sometimes have control over is perspective. You don't have control over your situation, but you have a choice about how you view it. Chris Pine. So, guys, have an amazing day. Be fearless. Keep pushing forward. Never stop being relentless in your pursuit of excellence. I'll see you guys next week.